all about growing your leadership and multiplying your influence in business, ministry, and life. Our mission is simple. We're just crazy about turning your potential into purpose and growing your influence. And now, your host, Obed Martinez.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Winning Wednesday. So glad, so honored that I'm able to join you today. Whether you're watching in the morning or you're watching the rebroadcast, listen, it is always a joy. One of the things that we love to do here at Life and Leadership Podcast is that we are absolutely passionate about turning potential into purpose. It's something, man, literally that we are extremely passionate about. And one of the ways and means we do that is we do it by coaching. And as you will find out later on, I'm going to share with you just a little bit about how can life and leadership coaching can take your life from where it is to where God desires it to be. But hey, this is episode number 8. This podcast is brought to you by Franklin Loan Center, led by Walter Neal, a fantastic place. If you're looking for any loans or refinancing, Franklin Loan Center is the place to go. What we're going to talk about today is something that I truly believe is monumental to everyone's life. And that is that every one of us is called to guard and protect our minds. And I want to talk to you today really quick about how to get the negative voices out of your head. Friends, listen, you and I are bombarded about all the information that's going on around us in this world. We are hearing it. We are seeing it, and it's a bunch of negativity that actually wants to come and infiltrate your thinking. But we all know that the level of our living is determined by the level of our thinking. And if we allow all of the outside noise, all the negative voices to bring our thinking down, eventually it will bring down our living. So in order for you to understand where these voices come from, you got to understand who's actually speaking them. In John chapter 8, verse 44, it says he was a murderer, speaking of Lucifer, from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is, listen, no truth in him. I'm going to say that again. There is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is the liar and the father of lies. He is a liar and he is the father of lies. I love how John described this. And listen, he literally is not just the father of lies, but there's no truth in him. And just think about in your past, how many of you fell for some lies? I want to talk to you today, really want to help you discover what I believe are the 5 patterns of how the devil works to try to bring negative voices into your head. What are the 5 patterns he works on to make sure you are living a life of negativity? The first one, the first thing he does is he creates doubt. The first thing he does is that he creates doubt. Can I tell you this? Is that doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Matter of fact, every one of us is called to succeed. Every one of us is called to live a successful life. That's Joshua chapter 1, that God has destined our life for success. And yet, part of success is failing. I can't tell you how many times that I have failed, and the failings have played a major contribution in the success that I achieved later. And at the end of the day, we will never live a fail-proof life, because if we live a fail-proof life, we're never going to get to the place that God designed for us called success. But what is the major killer from stopping you from getting to where you need to be is not failure. It is actually doubt. Because at the end of the day, if you don't believe it, you won't go after it. And everything begins with belief. And so when I believe that I'm going to have a great day, well, guess what? I'm going to go after it. When I get up and I'm going to say, man, this week is going to be an awesome week, man, guess what? I'm going to go after it. Why? My going started with my sense of belief. And if the devil can get you to doubt, all of a sudden he stops you from going after it. Let me say this. Your faith can move mountains, but your doubt can create them. Let me say that one more time. Your faith, according to Mark 11, verse 23 and 24, it can move mountains, but guess what? Your doubt can create them. Think about all the mountains we've created just by doubt. Friends, the first thing the devil does is he tries to make sure he creates doubt in your life. Once he creates doubt, he stops you from going. So then you say, then what's the answer? What's the answer from him creating doubt in my life? The answer is trust. It's trust. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 says, trust in the Lord completely and do not rely on your own opinions. With all your heart, rely on him to guide you, and he will lead you in every decision you make. So when you're getting tempted with doubting and you're doubting what's around you, it will cause you to start doubting what's inside of you. And what you want to make sure you're doing is you want to make sure you're leaning on the Lord. You're relying on what the word of God says. If the devil is the father of lies, then that means God is nothing but truth. Matter of fact, Jesus stood up one day and he says, I am the way and I am the, come on, let's say it, the truth. And so we know there's no lies in Jesus. And we also know now there's no truth in the devil. Friends, the best way to cure your doubt is to point in the direction called trust. The second thing the devil does is he distorts. Once he creates doubt, all of a sudden now he begins to distort. And here's how he does it. The enemy is great at distorting the truth. The enemy is great at distorting the truth. Man, we all know the story of Adam and Eve in the garden. And, there she is. And Eve's having a conversation with Lucifer in the form of a serpent. And what does he do? He starts to distort the truth. He tells her a little bit about who she is. Oh, well, you're this and you're that. Hey, you can eat of all of this, but why would God want to hold something back from you? And what does he start doing? He starts now setting her up to start distorting the truth. What you and I have to understand, and the one thing we got to recognize is that if God is all truth, if Jesus is truth, then there can be no distortion of what truth says. But if I'm going to listen to the devil, who's going to try to create voices in my head of negativity, then he can take something that I was holding on to that is truthful and begin to distort it. Why? Because at the end of the day, the enemy is great at distorting truth. Well, you say, okay, well then what is the answer to distortion? It's simple. It's truth. It's truth. The devil doesn't want you to know the truth because it ultimately kills his illusion he's presenting to you. I'm going to say that one more time. The devil doesn't want you to know the truth because it ultimately kills his illusion that he's trying to present to you. See, most of us, if we're not careful, when we start listening to all this negativity, it begins to create an illusion. He begins to feed it as he distorts it. And all of a sudden, it begins little by little chipping away at the thing called truth. The one thing you always want to remember is that I got to stop doubt before it continues. Because if I allow doubt to linger, that doubt now takes me down the road of distortion. The third thing we can learn, and here's the pattern, is that he goes from doubt to distort. And here it is, number 3, he discourages. He discourages. The truth is that you were once passionate about going after something. All of a sudden, you may have been filled with doubt. That doubt started to distort the truth to the point now you got discouraged. I believe all of us have been at a place like that at some point in our lives. We've been in a place where we're passionate about, man, I'm going to go after it. I'm going to start that business. I'm going to grab that new job, man. I'm going to go in this relationship. And man, we were all passionate about it until some doubts started settling in after the passion began to fade away. Because we didn't know how to handle the doubt, the truth started to get distorted. And once that truth started to get distorted and the devil just chipping away at that truth, we found ourselves very discouraged. I know I'm talking to somebody right now because maybe you feel today you're just, man, Obed, I'm just discouraged. To be honest, man, I can look at myself a few months ago and I was passionate about this, but to be honest, I don't know where it's at today. And maybe you're at that point where you're just like, man, I'm just discouraged. Well, then let's kind of work our way back. That discouragement just didn't show up. You just didn't wake up one day and say, well, I'm discouraged. No, that wasn't you. That discouragement began with truth being distorted. And that truth started to get distorted when you allowed doubt to hang around longer than what it should have. This is why we're to cast those imaginations down. This is why we're to get rid of those illusions. Because at the end of the day, if Jesus is truth, he's all about encouragement. But if the devil is all about lies, he's all about discouragement. So friends, you got to identify that discouragement comes from the devil and encouragement comes from God. This is the pattern on how the enemy works to get negative voices into your head. Well, you say, what's the answer? It's simple, encouragement. Well, how do I do that? Surround yourself with people who see your value and remind you of it. Let me say that one more time. Listen, look at me real quick. Surround yourself with people who see your value and they remind you of it. Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break. I got a special announcement that I'm going to share with you, and I will be right back. What's up, everybody? Obed here, and I am excited to announce to you for the first time what I have been doing the last 22 years, and that is coaching. I am absolutely passionate about taking people's potential and taking them to purpose. Most of you guys would know me as a pastor, but a lot of business leaders and leaders around the world know me as a coach. The thing that I love to coach people about is to become what I call an elite leader. It is a one-year program that has been proven over the last 22 years of taking people who are CEOs and making their companies more profitable to people who just had a dream and making that a reality. You say, but what entails in this coaching, Obed? It's 4 things. The first thing I take you through is what I call personal development. And once we establish what personal development is, then I move you into phase 2, which I call professional development. And all of a sudden, once we move out of phase 2, then we get to the nitty gritty, and I call that team development. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to lead a company or you're going to lead an organization, you're going to have to learn how to build teams. And then lastly, we teach you in phase 4 on how to build team performance. With personal development, professional development, team development, and team performance, we believe ultimately you become an elite leader. It is a one-year program dedicated to make you the best at what you do. And if you're interested, all you got to do is go to my website, obedmartinez.co, go to coaching and book a call, and one of my assistants will get back to you. Well, hey, let's get back to the podcast because I got something else to share with you. Well, I sure hoped you loved what I shared with you about in that little mini commercial. Listen, we love to coach people here at Life and Leadership. No pressure, but if you feel like you want to take your leadership to the next level, my friends, this is the place for you. Well, if you're joining us, we've been talking really about how, in some sense, the devil works on trying to infiltrate our minds when it comes to negative voices. And I've been pointing to you out the pattern. That first pattern is doubt. That doubt leads to distortion, and that distortion leads to discouragement. The next place he takes you is what I call distraction. He takes you now to distraction. Once you have doubt, once the truth starts getting distorted, and once you start getting discouraged, he now takes you down a path called distraction. Stop getting distracted by the things that have nothing to do with your goals. I'm going to say that one more time. Stop getting distracted by the things that have nothing to do with your goals. Listen, there's so many things happening around us. And as a leader in the marketplace with my business, and also as a leader in the church, leading a great movement, I get people asking me things all the time. And what I have to make sure I'm doing is making sure I am not allowing my life to get distracted by things that have nothing to do with the goals that the business nor the church is trying to accomplish. At the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of voices, but there should only be one voice you should be focused on, and that is the voice of the Holy Spirit. You say, but Pastor, what is the answer? What would be the answer to distraction? And that is focus. I love to say this: starve your distractions and feed your focus. Let your distractions starve. Man, stop getting distracted. Remember, Peter was able to do the impossible until he got distracted. You have the possibility to do the impossible, but your only enemy is distraction. And so at the end of the day, it is important that you remind yourself, stay focused. I'm going to starve my distractions. And then last but not least, number 5, it is divide. The ultimate plan of the enemy is to get you to a place where you feel divided from your dreams and people. Notice how it all started. Here's the pattern. It started with doubt. Doubt led to the distortion of truth. The distortion of truth led to discouragement. Discouragement led to distraction. And now distraction has brought you to a place called divide. The goal of the enemy is to divide. Why is it his goal? It's easy. The first thing is he wants you to stay alone. I've never met somebody who's passionate and alone, but I've met a lot of people who get depressed and then stay alone. Why does the devil want you to get alone? Because he doesn't want any other voices speaking into your life but his. And he's the father of lies. And he's all about discouragement. The other thing that literally divide brings is that it brings on an I can do this myself attitude. I can just do this myself. I don't need anyone else. Friends, that is not leadership talk. That's hurtful talk. When people tell me, Pastor Obed, I could just do it all by myself. I don't need anybody. What you're really telling me is I stopped trusting in people. Therefore, I'm just going to do it myself. And that's a dangerous place to be, because nobody gets to their place of dreams all by themselves. The other reason why he gets you to divide is because he wants to rob you from the power of agreement. The Bible says that two must touch and agree, and whatever is asked, it shall come to pass. Well, if you're divided from people, separated from people, because guess what? You allowed yourself to be filled with doubt. You allowed the truth to get distorted. It led to discouragement. Discouragement led to distraction. And now you're at the place of divide. Guess what he's doing? He's getting you to isolate yourself so that you're not around other people. And when you're not around other people, who do you have to pray with that can actually agree with you? Friends, if we understand his pattern, we will see it and then we will break it before it lands up breaking us. So you say, then what's the answer? The answer is unity. The answer is unity. Psalms 133 says, how truly wonderful and delightful it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is the heavenly harmony that can be compared to the dew dripping down from the skies upon Mount Hermon, refreshing the mountain slopes of Israel. From this realm of sweet harmony, God will release eternal blessings, and that promise will be with you forever. What promise? The promise of what? His blessings. Where does it all begin? In unity. You are never going to find the blessings, and it's never going to be forever if you allow yourself to be divided from the one you should be unified with, and that is Christ. So as I close today, I want to once again show you the pattern. It begins with doubt. All of a sudden, the doubt leads to distorting the truth. And from distorting the truth, you start getting discouraged. And once you start getting discouraged, you now begin to live within distraction. Once you live within distraction, you get to the point where he ultimately wants, and that is divide. He wants you separated. Now I'm going to show you. Adam and Eve were in the garden, living in perfect harmony. The serpent shows up, conversates with Eve, and the first thing he puts within her is doubt. Once she heard the doubt, he started to distort the truth. And as soon as he distorted the truth, she got discouraged. When she got discouraged, they ate of the fruit, and guess what? They got distracted. And when they got distracted, it ultimately led them to be divided from God. My friends, let's not allow the voices to get inside of our head that produces negativity. Well, I hope today helped you. And if it did, would you please do me a favor? Would you share this podcast on your social media page? Will you comment on it? And most importantly, go to our website and subscribe on all of our platforms. The more we get the message out, the more we can help people. Well, I love you. Hope to see you tonight at Winning Wednesday, 6:30 and 8 o'clock. It's going to be absolutely fire, okay? And it's going to be amazing. So I'll see you tonight, and then I'll see you Friday. Be blessed, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today on the Obed Martinez Life and Leadership Podcast. If you would like to go deeper into today's teaching, you can do this by downloading the notes and the study guide at obedmartinez.co/notes. You can also sign up to get these sent directly to your inbox. But in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to this podcast, rate and review it on iTunes, and don't forget to share it with some friends on your social media. Once again, thank you for joining us weekly on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for Life and Leadership with Obed Martinez.